How about this powerful fact that I saw in there? The average lifespan of a Zambian is 32 years and dropping.
That's amazing.
The average lifespan, 32 years. And, of course, we've got so many, and fortunately there's a couple more great shots in here, but when we think about those kind of numbers and folks that you may have seen or that Jenny may have seen back in '99 who were in their mid-20s or late 20s maybe not being around because they've fallen in that same in that average lifespan and passed away. That must be a powerful experience.
It is. It's difficult. I know we both have lost students that we taught, and it's tough. And especially, we get close to students here in the States. My wife doesn't teach anymore, but she used to. She stays home with our daughter. I teach.
Right.
We get close to students in the States, but there you get so much more close. Relationships mean a lot more. The students live there. It's a boarding school, so you're around them more. And to lose one or two or three students, it's tough. It's difficult. The reason that average lifespan is so low is because of HIV/AIDS is really wiping out the middle generations. You have the very old that may be 60, 70, but you have the very young. And then, of course, their infant mortality rate is very high. And so you have a child that may live 2 or 3 or 4 weeks that dies. So all those factors play into that very low average lifespan.
JJ, how about the shot of the village kitchen here? This is that's a pretty rough kitchen.
Yeah, that brings it home right there. When you think about the TV dinners we have and the go out to Pizza Hut or go ahead and throw in a frozen pizza, and then they've got this. That's their kitchen. That's how they live, and it's amazing. I spent a week in the village actually living with some friends to get that experience, and the whole day was based around food. It was based around 2 to 3 hours to prepare breakfast in that kitchen right there, 2 to 3 hours to prepare lunch, same thing for supper, and it was just a constant thing that you were preparing for your family. It's amazing.
That is. We've got this last great shot of the family starting the orphanage, is this the family starting the orphanage?
It is. It is. The gentleman here, his name is Menda. His wife's name is Pam, and they have 3 children, and they are Zambian. Actually, Pam is from Zimbabwe, but they live there in Zambia, and most orphanages that have been constructed there are from Westerners, people from the U.S. or from England. It's very rare for a Zambian to say, we need an orphanage. And so for her and her husband to have that vision, they had it for 8 years until they finally constructed. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was just something on her heart, and they finally pushed through, and they are just dedicated. It's a slow process, but they're dedicated, and it's just been amazing to see how their faith has been strengthened through this whole process of building an orphanage. They really want to help, and it will help because in that area, which is probably the area, let's say the size of Horry County, there's one other orphanage, and this will be the second orphanage. The one that's there now has just started to. It's very grassroots, and so it's going to impact a lot of children.
Right. That's tremendous. That's tremendous. Give viewers a sense, if they maybe give an idea of what this most recent trip was like. You went with a group of 6 others, 6 women went with you. When did you all leave, and what's the trip like, JJ? Just give viewers a sense. And are there limits year after year? For instance, are you all starting to plan for next year already?
We're getting a few dates set. We don't know if it'll be in June or July, but the preparation is big. We usually start raising money in September, October.
Right,
because
next month,
you gotta take a lot of time for that.
Yeah.
We left this year in June. I think it was the 12th of June. The group, most of the group, I came back a little late. I spent a few more weeks there, but the group came back about the end of June. It's about a 2-week trip.
Right.
And the tough part, the reason we have to go for 2 weeks is the travel. It takes 2 days just to get where we go and 2 days just to get back. And so when you take 4 days out of 2 weeks, that doesn't give you much time on the
really
ground.
Make a difference.
So we ended up, when we got there, we lived in pretty basic housing. We did have a house. We weren't out in tents or anything. And we did have, for the most part, running water and electricity. And we just went everywhere we needed to go. We went and we did some Bible studies. We did preaching. We did sports ministries. We did
great.
We did some of that. We did some conferences and seminars. We led worship. One of the biggest things we did was just relate and just get to know the people, because the more you get to know the people, the more you understand their needs, and then it doesn't end up being just a nice 2-week time that you had in your life. It ends up being something that even after you come back, you're committed to, that you want to help out, you want to meet those needs even while you're in the States.
Right.
So a little bit of everything is what we did. We hope to eventually do some construction and some things like that.
Great. Great. Yeah, and I'm sure the finding qualified folks to help do construction over there, just trying to get the right crew together is a big chore in and of itself.
It is. It is. But that's something that's on the horizon we're working on, and I'm excited to help with the orphanage or the school or both. We're able to help out in some way.
I think Deanne had talked about a tremendous, there was a gorge swing you'd done with a friend, some fun involved in that.
Yes.
So it's not all work. I mean, you all are there obviously to make a difference in the mission.
Right.
This is a Christian-based trip.
Right. It is. It's about spreading the gospel, about spreading Christ's message and Christ's love through meeting needs. But yeah, there's one of the wonders of the world of Victoria Falls isn't real far from where we are.
Is that right?
And so we always make a stop there. And Victoria Falls has become an extreme sport area. Whitewater rafting, skydiving. The world's largest legal bungee jump is there. And two of the people from our trip did that. It was over a 400-foot drop.
No way.
Yeah, I didn't do that, but I did a gorge swing, which the Amazing Race highlighted a few years ago. I did it with a friend, and it was about a 3.5-second free fall out across this large gorge, and then once the rope goes taut and it catches you, you swing for a few seconds until they release you and drop you down slowly. But yeah, we try to have a little fun.
3.5 seconds
free fall.
You were just that's nuts.
Yeah, it was a little scary, but I'm one of those people. I'd like to do some skydiving one day. I'd like to experience that. And so this was actually somebody that we met in a local hostel we were staying at, a small hotel, said that she had done everything, and from skydiving to bungee jumping, and this was the most terrifying. And so I thought, well, might as well try it.
Is your wife the same way? Does she press the envelope there? And
not in those ways. She presses the envelope in other ways.
Yeah.
She likes to just sit back and watch me do it.
And
shake her head a little bit and laugh at the same time.
Your daughter's 2. Is she? You're already seeing some of those tendencies in her.
Yes.
She's gonna be more like Daddy there.
And in that way, she may. She loves to jump off the bed. You ought to be there to catch her. And she's a little daredevil at times. So yeah, she may take up a little bit of what I do in that area.
Yeah. You know, as you're there and you see the children, and of course that, as we speak about abject poverty, you see those levels of poverty. Do you ever think about, I want to get them and bring them back, or just introduce them to something so different and get them out of this, what many would say is hell on earth?
Yeah, that's a great point, and that has impacted our family to the point where my wife and I, this summer, one of the things I try to do was adopt.
Is that right?
Yes, we did our paperwork. And we both have wanted to adopt for years, even before we met each other. So it wasn't just we see the situation, let's get a kid out. But we both wanted to adopt, and we both have thought and loved Zambia. We have a heart for the people, and there's a lot of orphans. So it didn't work out this summer. We're praying that next summer it will work out. But there is also a fine line there where, often the Americans that go there, they want to help so much that sometimes their generosity can hurt. Where if you give, inappropriately, it may cause problems.
Yeah, what's an example of that, just so viewers would have a?
Well, I had a younger child. Often, as an American, you come over, you're wealthy, and I don't want to say there's a target on you, because the people are very accepting of you, but they realize that you live in a different lifestyle than they do, and you'll have some people sometimes coming to ask you. I had a young child come to ask for $5. And what's $5? Sure. Well, his mother talked to her later. She's a friend of ours, and she said, look, if he asks you, I can't tell you not to give, but don't give him all $5. And I said, why? She said, just give him half, because he needs to learn the value of hard work.
Right.
He can have some, but he needs to work for the rest. And if you just give, you're going to kind of create a society of beggars.
Right.
And we don't want that for our country. And it's one of those things that, as an American, it's tough that we can bless them so much, but we also have to do it in a wise way that uplifts them and doesn't keep them, or create that society of beggars.
That's great.
So it is. There's a lot to learn. Even after living there, I still have a lot to learn, and my wife does too. But it's pretty interesting.
When Jenny there in '99, you all there together, 02, 03, mission was still a central focus, even though y'all weren't representing a church. Y'all were there with Christ in mind. I mean, bringing, or was that mostly on the last 3 trips?
That was the last 3 trips. We've gone as a church independently.
Right.
When Jenny and I went, we actually went through a missions organization.
Right.
That was very biblically focused and Christ-centered. Not to say our church wasn't,
no, of course,
but
right.
we worked with an organization.
Right.
With our church trips, we go as our own independent body, and that is the forefront. I mean, meeting needs, of course, is
right.
it, but if you don't meet the needs, the gospel really doesn't mean much when you tell somebody.
You've been able to see that in action from the early trips from 2002, 03, over 5 years, where Christ got in there with them?
We have. I think of, there's many examples, but I think of one of the students I taught when I was over there. We had some long talks, and while she was a senior, she said, I'm just not sure about this Jesus thing. Now, it's a Christian school, but I wasn't sure. And I said, well, just, think about what we've talked about. Think about what you've seen in your teachers, your classmates, my wife and I, and think about it and pray about it and just see if that's where you should be. And she wrote me a letter a few months after she graduated. She said, I'm a believer. I've accepted Christ. And that was in 2003. I saw her just this time in 2007. And she's unbelievable.
That's great.
She has chosen a very fine fiance, a very well-established man, a believing man, a devoted man. She's got her life is on a great path. And the cool thing about it is she said, without Christ, I wouldn't be here. I know where I'd be. And so we have seen that impact.
That's great.
And it's great to see that multiplied, not just her, in every area.
I'm sorry, we've run out of time, JJ. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Very definitely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with JJ Iagulli coming up next. Think about that as HIV and AIDS ravages the nation of 10 million. Students from the orphanage will be thrust into leadership positions. Those are AJ's great words, but think about it. The average lifespan of Zambians, 32 years and dropping. You can make a difference. These are opportunities. These were created by villagers in the village next door to help build the orphanage. They were hired to create these baskets. These are being sold. All these dollars will be reinvested back into the orphanage. You can make a difference. 843-903-0092. 903-0092. JJ wants you to call him. Call him at home. Make a difference. You can also go online to carolinaforest.org and click on Commissioned. carolinaforest.org, click on Commissioned. Think of that. Less than $2 a day to support 87% of that community. Less than $2 a day. These baskets, $10 or $15. Go online to carolinaforest.org or call 843-903-0092.